I just bought what is considered one of the best MacBook Pros ever made, the mid-2015 MacBook Pro 15-inch. And in today's video, we'll see if it really does own up to its hype. We'll do some upgrades on it and talk about it, and run Sequoia on it like we're doing right now. And it should be a fun time. Let's go. Anyway, I'm Greg Hrutkay of Hrutkay Mods, and before we even begin here, if you guys want to skip ahead to when I start taking this thing apart and upgrading it, go to this timestamp right here. But in today's video, we will be talking about this MacBook Pro right here, which is not the MacBook Pro that was in this video up here where I was running the Sequoia beta. I bought that system in October of 23, and it got stolen. Yeah, and I just realized it last week, so I had to buy another one. And the funny thing is, this one was even cheaper, which kind of makes sense because it's been over a year. But this one was cheaper, it's in better shape, and it's altogether just a better system than the one I had to begin with. So I've got all these spare parts for the other system I was rebuilding, and now I can't use them because this system right here already has a brand new battery in it and everything. That's what this box is underneath here. This is a brand new battery that I don't need to put in it, and I don't know what to do with it. But yeah, in today's video, we've got this system right here. The mid-2015 15-inch, 2.8 gigahertz BTO system with the AMD M370X graphics in it for the dedicated GPU. This is the top-of-the-line system. Everything in it is top-of-the-line. Everything you could get in mid-2015 all the way through when they stopped selling it, I think, mid-2017. This is the top-of-the-line system. And they sold this side-by-side with its replacement, which happened to be one of the Butterfly keyboard systems. This system right here actually has the last Pro system here that had the glowing Apple logo, and this was in the last Jobs era designed case. It's not exactly Jobs era designed because Steve Jobs was dead by the time the Retinas came out, but it's based off the first generation Unibody design. So it's still a Jobs era design. And after that, they took off the glowing logo and all that stuff and improved some things in the system and ruined a lot of other things. This was the last system that was available with regular ports in it. It's got USB-A, HDMI, an SD card slot, and two Thunderbolt 2 ports, and a headphone jack also. And this was, for a while, the last Pro model that had MagSafe also. This has MagSafe 2 in it. And this system right here is now going on 10 years old. In fact, it just turned 10 years old, and it is running hardware in it that is almost 12 years old. Yeah, and that's where we get into the Retina MacBooks. The Retina MacBooks weren't great. They have not great cooling systems in them. This one's slightly better than the later models. The second generation Retinas are pretty bad with cooling. But this system in general is okay, but it does have a lot of drawbacks. First off, like I said, it's got 12-year-old hardware in it. It's got a Haswell CPU in it, which is a 4th generation Intel iCore in it. And it was long in the tooth when it was released. But it's still pretty quick and snappy. But that comes to the point, is this really truly the best MacBook Pro ever made? In my opinion, no. And you can actually get the same performance CPU-wise if you buy a late 2013 or a 2014 MacBook Pro. The only difference between these and those are this one had different AMD graphics in it. The other ones had NVIDIA graphics, and I think the 14s had AMD. I can't quite remember. But other than the graphics, the CPUs were basically the same. The hardware's basically the same. And the only thing that makes a mid-2015 a mid-2015 is it has a Force Touch trackpad on it, which I doubt many people use because I don't even use the Force Touch features on it. I just still use it as a regular trackpad, so it's not really needed. So if you want to save some money, a 13 or 14 MacBook Pro is cheaper and performs the same. It's just got slightly crappier graphics in it. And when you're just using this as a daily driver for web browsing or minor things like photoshopping, even light video editing, you really don't need the better GPU. This system is still 12-year-old hardware. It's going to perform like a 12-year-old system, which means it's not great in today's world, but still quick enough where you can get things done. And this is a pretty nice system, but it's still got its flaws. The Retinas, when they were introduced, all the way through the end of this generation, had problems with the lamination and the coating going bad on the screens. It's hard not to find one with something wrong with the screen. This even has something wrong with the screen, and you can't really see it, but there's a light spot right here in the screen. You can't really get around that. But this system right here, they did a battery recall on them. And this system right here from my serial number lookup has a brand new battery in it. And it's only got like 38 cycles or something. It's barely any cycles in it. It might be, no, it's like 80 something cycles. Barely any cycles on it. It's still got 95% of its battery life. It's still a brand new battery. So we don't need to replace it, which means I don't know what to do with this battery. But, you know, other than the screen issues, they all have screen issues. The screens sometimes just randomly die. They're not great screens, but they look beautiful when they're working properly. And if you take good care of them and watch what you wash it with, it will last forever. And this system is one of those cases there where it's in really good shape. This is almost new. It's got one scratch here, a few light scratches on the top, no dents, no scrapes. There's a few little chips on the edges, but this would be what I would consider a very good system. It's almost new, and it's a gorgeous system, and it's got good power. This is the top-of-the-line model. And what's the problem with the Retina MacBook Pros compared to the original Unibodies? Well, when the 2012 Retina came out, it had the same hardware in it as the Unibody systems that didn't have Retina screens, except the Unibody system still had optical drives in them, and it also had a few other things like upgradable RAM. This was the first system Apple released that didn't have upgradable RAM, and a lot of people hated that. So when you're buying one of these things, you've got two options. One, get the RAM you need, or two, send it to Collin Mister and have him upgrade the RAM. That's really the only choice you have. And I wanted the max model. I got this for $203, and I think I got a pretty good deal considering, but it's still, you got to consider it's almost 12-year-old hardware in it. So it's still kind of slow, and I don't know if $203 for something that loses security updates in, what, a little bit more than 3 years from now is really worth it. But, you know, that's also with OCLP, because these were dropped off, and I think Monterey or Big Sur, I can't quite remember which. But OCLP, we're running Sequoia on it right now. It's running fine. It's really fast. It's really snappy, especially if you enable the dedicated graphics all the time. It's a lot faster than Intel Iris graphics in it. And it's a pretty good system. It does what it needs to do, and it's pretty fast doing it. And in today's video, we will be upgrading this system with a 2 terabyte NVMe drive. And this is the mistake I made with the mid-2013 iMac upgrade video that you can see up here. And that was, I thought the Apple drives were NVMe's. They're not. They're based off of the SATA protocol. They're AHCI drives, which means they run at SATA speeds. A little faster than SATA speeds, but it's still basically a SATA drive. And with the High Sierra firmware upgrade, you could actually run NVMe's on these things with an adapter card like this, which I've had since November of 23 and never put it into a system. And I'm lucky that I didn't put it into that system that got stolen. I still had this. It was still sitting in the place I sat it. So you just need this adapter, an NVMe drive, and you can upgrade this. These came from the factory with a max of 1 terabyte of storage. This was one of the last Pro models that allowed you to upgrade the storage, other than the second generation Retinas with the butterfly keyboards and no touch bar. Those, up to the 17 models, you could actually still upgrade the storage, but it's not a great system. It was very underpowered. And that's another thing about these. Argumentatively, this is the best because it's got a Haswell in it. Haswell was the last huge leap Intel made. Broadwell and Skylake sucked. And you'll see that in some benchmark tests I ran on this. And everything past that, it wasn't until the 8th generation they started improving again. But by then they were running so hot, they were still throttling. This system will run really hot, but doesn't throttle quite as bad. And it can compete with a newer Intel MacBook Pro like a 2019. Even though it's got 2 less cores, 2 less threads than the top end one, it's still a heck of a powerhouse. And that shows you one of the reasons why Apple went to Apple Silicon, because it's not great. It's great for this generation CPU. This was really top of the line. Everything after this generation CPU, up until the 8th generation, just kind of flopped. It wasn't an improvement at all. They still performed basically the same as the 4th generation. So the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th generations were kind of, yeah. So yeah, in today's video, we'll be upgrading this thing, showing it off, showing how it performs and stuff. And, well, let's get to it. So before we start tearing the system down, let's go over the system specs real quick. We've got the 16 gigs of built-in DDR3 at 1600 megahertz. And the R9 M370X dedicated GPU, which will only actually officially enable all the time as if you disable the graphic switching, which I did, and that speeds up the performance of the OS a lot. And this system, the only thing that's not maxed out about it is it's got the 250 gig SSD in it. And I sort of purposely did it that way so I could upgrade it. These systems came with a max of 1 terabyte from the factory, and we are going to go to a 2 terabyte drive. So that's going to be a huge leap in storage, and this should be a very good time. Let's start tearing it down. All right, so it's time for the tear down here. We need a Pentalobe 5 screw. Thank you, Apple, for that. So start getting these loose here. Okay, so the nice thing about this system here is the 2nd generation Unibody. Wow, that doesn't look good. I just noticed that. This is the first time I've opened this, by the way. That doesn't look good. But yeah, the nice thing about the non-Unibody, or the Unibody systems, the 2nd generations, all the Retinas, is you don't have to take the whole thing apart to change the thermal paste. You've just got to take these screws out, and it should, in theory, be easy to fix the thermal paste. We're going to repaste it while we're in here. I don't see a whole lot of dust, so that won't be much of an issue. There's the Apple battery there that looks like I guess it's new. I hope it is. I'd assume that's the recall battery. These had a problem with swelling up and breaking trackpads and stuff. They literally swell so much the trackpad would just crack and stop working. And they could also catch on fire. Not good. But this looks like it's been fixed. Everything is new in it. It feels like a battery. It's not swollen. We're good on that. So now we're going to do the thermal paste on this. While you were watching this time lapse, I forgot to mention that the speakers are notorious for blowing out also. Okay, now it should come off. Ta-da! So we need to paste all that. We need to clean all that up. And I'll be right back after I clean all that up. Alright, so the tutorial doesn't mention anything about this heat sink because it's not doing the tutorial on the BTO version. This right here is our AMD chip, and it's a nice looking little chip there. There's our Haswell CPU. Now we can paste it. Alright, we've got the new paste applied here. Now I just need to put the heatsink on and we'll be good. Alright, let's get this SSD out here. Here is the original SSD here, which I don't like that mark on the chip. It still appears to be a good chip. I don't know what I can use this for. It might be good for something, but right now I have nothing to use it for. So we'll just toss it over here, and hopefully that didn't break it. But now we need to get our adapter and our SSD set up here. Here's our WD Black SN77 or 770. This is not the top of the line that you could probably put in it, but this will probably max it out in bandwidth anyway, so it doesn't really matter if it's not the top of the line. And here is our adapter, which we will need to make this actually work. So that goes there. It comes with its own screws, which I don't know if we will need. We're going to see in a second. So, first, plug this into here, like so. It does seem to line up mostly. So if we plug it in here, we might be able to use the original screw. See if it, yeah, it looks like we can just use the original screw and it will work. All right, so now we just need to click the battery back in, like so. And put the bottom back on, and we will be able to call it a day. And yeah, awesome. Oh, I forgot 2 more screws. I'm glad I noticed that. I still need to put that screw and that screw in. Whoops. Okay, now we can button it up and get into the installer and start reinstalling everything. So let's go. All right, so yeah, welcome to the shiny, blurry image here. Everything's really tiny right now because the graphics drivers are not installed on the installer, so Retina's display is really small, but it is seeing the 2 terabyte drive. Let's erase it here. There we go. So we hit done. Now we have a 2 terabyte drive that is initialized. It's awesome. So now we can install Sequoia back over top again, and we will come back when we are in Sequoia. Let's go. All right, we got Sequoia back on here. Let's go over to About This Mac. And actually, I need to enable the built-in DGPU. So I need to go over to Power, Battery, Options. It is already disabled. Well, it must have saved it in the NVRAM. Let's see if it did. It did save it in the NVRAM. Neat. Okay, so here we are. We are all set up here. We go over to About This Mac and go to System Information. If we open up SATA, there's no longer any drives here because it is now an NVMe drive, which is right here. It shows up, it works. Now, this is a Gen 4 drive, and the connection it's connected to is, I think, a Gen 2, maybe Gen 3. So it doesn't really matter what the speed the Gen 4 drive is. It's going to run at the Gen 3, Gen 2 speeds, whatever that is. So, yeah, even if this is a slower drive, it's still going to run at the fastest speed the bus can handle. So that's the reason why I went with a Gen 4 drive. Plus, they're cheap. So let's open up Blackmagic and hit start. That's an improvement. We have the original screenshot here from the previous install. We'll open that up. It gained, what, 1.2 gigabytes in speed for write and about 200 megabytes or so in read. That's not a bad improvement. It's really good. And it even enabled us to support 12K DCI 60, which is some kind of codec, I think. But yeah, it's a lot faster now. So that was a win. So how fluid is this thing? As we can see here, pretty fluid. It does what it needs to do. There's no lag. Everything pops up pretty quick, as we can see here, and it just works. So now what I want to do is shut it down, and we'll do a timed boot here. So shut it down. All right, we're off. I'm going to start it. And time. It's definitely faster booting up. It's surprisingly quick. That rivals probably my 2018 Mac Mini in boot times now. It's still booting up a little bit, but we are booted. Here we go. It was that fast. And there's the time displayed on the screen that took how long, because I'll probably speed that up a little bit. But now I've ran some benchmarks to compare this to other systems, and this explains why the Haswell CPU was so good, because I compared it to my 2019 Mac Pro, and you'd be surprised just how far apart they are. They're not really far apart at all. So let me pull that up and I'll be right back. All right, so first off, here's my M1 Max, which is the most powerful Apple Silicon Mac I have. And single core score is actually not too far off in consideration. Of course, multi-core, it murders it. But let's pull up and compare the Mac Pro with this MacBook Pro. Single core performance between a Skylake X Mac Pro and this Haswell MacBook Pro is it's almost the same. There's not much of a difference there in comparison. It's scary how much the same they are in performance. Single core, of course, multi-core will get slaughtered because we've got 8 threads on this, and that thing's got 32. But the single core is actually quite close, and that shows you that Skylake just kind of sucked. I mean, in some things, this thing actually beats out my Mac Pro. A 2019 Mac Pro 16 core, and this thing is outperforming it in some categories. So that shows you this is still a very decent little system, especially in single core performance compared to systems that are still supported by Apple. It's basically the same thing. it's scary how good this system is. Now, like I said, I still don't consider this one the best MacBook Pros ever, at least Intel-wise. But it's pretty good. And it's pretty impressive how well this thing runs. And I like it. It's going to have a big future for me. And I am going to set this thing up with Windows 11, because this will be a very capable Windows 11 machine, believe it or not. And I'll also still be running Sequoia on this. I'm going to set this up with my regular install on it. I'll probably transfer it from my 2014 MacBook Air with a 16 gig RAM upgrade in it that Collin did. And then install Windows 11 and use this as one of my dailies, because I use multiple systems as a daily. But I'll tell you what, this thing is just blazing fast now. This is fast enough where you almost can't tell it's 12-year-old hardware. It is, you click on something, it instantly just pops up. None of this is sped up. This is just doing it. Everything that it needs to open, it opens up nearly instantly. It's scary how fast this thing is. Let's open up the App Store. Well, I just did that. Let's open up, I don't know, I'm not logged into anything right now. Let's open up News, see what happens. It takes a second. It's all reopened. That's amazing. And we can go to Settings, and it just opens it right up. This is so useful, so fast, especially with the DGPU enabled. With the Intel Iris graphics, it's still pretty peppy. You could get away with the Intel Iris graphics. It works fine. It's just the acceleration on the wallpapers and stuff gets very laggy on Iris graphics. But I haven't noticed any lag on the acceleration on this wallpaper in the DGPU. So the AMD graphics chip is worth it if you want fluidity. But honestly, if you just get a regular one with Iris graphics in it, it's still going to perform the same. And I'll tell you what, this thing is blazing fast, and I really like it. So let's wrap up the video. So in the end, would I recommend buying a Retina MacBook from the first generation? Yes. But when I say from the first generation, I mean buy a Retina MacBook that has a Haswell in it and has a decent screen. Try and avoid the Ivy Bridge, just because this has, for instance, AVX2 in it, which means you can still run an eGPU if you hack it just right in this OS, and it should work. I haven't tried it yet. But as long as you have AVX2, an eGPU seems to work. You do have to hack it, but we'll do it. Ivy Bridge won't let you do it because it's missing AVX2. It's missing some instruction sets that just kind of age the systems out now. But if you can find one of these really cheap, don't go for the 2015 unless you can find the 2015 cheap, because you'll get the same performance more or less out of a 2013, late 2013, or a 2014 MacBook Pro. The acceleration will be about the same on graphics. And if you upgrade the SSD to an NVMe, you're going to basically double the speed of the system in booting and performance. And it doesn't cost that much. $100 for a drive and a few bucks for an adapter. And you've got something that's still blazing fast for something that's got 12-year-old hardware in it. And of course, this doesn't have a butterfly keyboard in it, which is another win. And it's got regular ports in it, like USB-A, which is quite handy. You don't need dongles. But then again, if you want to use something for a modern MacBook, you still need dongles to convert USB-A or Thunderbolt to USB-C. Yeah. That's just a minor drawback, because 10 years later, hey, we're still using a lot of USB-A. In fact, 90% of all my stuff is still USB-A, And I've been living that dongle life for a while now, and it's still really annoying. Of course, I am starting to grow. USB-C is growing on me. I'm starting to like USB-C. You can convert tons of things to USB-C, and it would just work. I've got adapters coming in to make that even easier, because I've lost all my adapters. I don't know where they keep going. But in the end, I really like this system. Was it really probably worth buying a 2015 model? Probably not. But did I get a fairly decent deal for $203? I think I did, because this is a maxed out version. This has everything maxed out in it, and now it even has a maxed out SSD. We could go up to 8 terabytes on this thing if we really wanted to, but 2 terabytes is enough, and it's double what these came from the factory with. It's pretty cool, and this thing works really well. It really likes Sequoia, and I think it's going to like Tahoe too when they finally patch it to make it work. So that's awesome. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I am going to experiment with this more. I may end up doing some more videos on it, showing you how it runs with Windows and maybe an eGPU. Don't know. It depends how you guys like this video, because if anything, this is still going to be one of my personal systems, and that system that got stolen was going to be, and the only reason why I never upgraded it was because I was going to film it, and, well, yeah, I procrastinated so long it disappeared. Yeah, anyway, this isn't going to disappear. I'm going to watch this thing like a hawk, and this would join my daily users of my early 2008 MacBook Pro 15-inch, my M1 Max 16-inch, and I also now have that I have a 2017 MacBook with the i7 in it. I've been using it a lot. The battery life is incredible on that little thing. And I'm kind of getting used to the butterfly keyboard, but I still don't really like it. Although it's the 3rd gen, and it's sort of fixed a lot of the problems with it. It's an okay keyboard. It's not great, but it's okay. And then I still have my 2014 MacBook Air, which I also use as a daily. And I just swap around them. I use every one of those systems at least once a day for quite some time, doing different experiments and just trying different things constantly. Plus, they're great YouTubing systems and stuff. They work out very well. And I think this is going to do the same thing, and it's going to be an incredible Windows machine. And that could be an interesting follow-up video, just how well it performs with Windows 11. If you guys want to see that, let me know below. But yeah, that's the end of today's video. Don't forget, I have a Patreon and memberships. You know the drill on how to join all that. And that's everything. This has been a Hrutkay Mods video. I've got my system image on here, and the temperatures they spike up a little bit, but they are a lot cooler than they used to be. And as we can see here, it's working very fluidly. Everything seems to be working great. And I also have Windows 11 running butterly smooth on here. It's so smooth. It's crazy just how smooth it is. And it boots up in half the time as Mac OS does. But of course, I bought this thing to be a Mac. But it shows that it will at least run Windows 11 when Mac OS security updates finally drop. So I guess that's a win also.